Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, June 25, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that videos over here with Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what did that be like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather look that just came out at 7:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:14 p.m. Jamaica time. As you can see here, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. So we're basically done with Andrea, that was way over here out in the open waters of the Atlantic, definitely dissipated for now. And we can see right here, not much of anything to talk about, not really much happening across the main development region. Just some clouds right here associated with the intertropical convergence zone, some tropical waves across Africa pushing westward, very interesting. And we see some moisture across the Western Caribbean as well as the Bahamas, but nothing significant taking place. So Andrea's out of here, and if we do get something to formulate, the next name on the list would be Barry. However, on the Eastern Pacific side of things, we see that we still are monitoring that area that has a high chance of cyclone development to the south of Mexico, and we can see why right here. We see the clouds, the showers and thunderstorms associated with the system, a lot of deep convection lightning in around the center of the possible system. Definitely trying to get its act together. The Eastern Pacific has been cranking out the systems since the beginning of their season for sure. The next name on the list would be Flossie. Let's see if we actually get that name. Let us see what the Hurricane Center stated. Alright, so according to the Hurricane Center, they've said showers and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located a few hundred miles south of the coast of Guatemala have changed little in organization during the past day or so. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of this system during the next few days, and a tropical depression or tropical storm is likely to form by late this weekend, while the system moves slowly west-northwestward of the coast of southern Mexico. And we see that they've given the system a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, and an 80% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Let's see what happens. On the Western Pacific side of things, we have a new tropical depression 3, right here to the south of China. And we still are monitoring that tropical depression that was once tropical storm Sepad, definitely inching closer to portions of Japan. You can see it all even better right here on the infrared satellite images. We see that tropical depression pushing inland into portions of southern China, very interesting. We can also see that other tropical depression right here just passing to the east of Japan, just as predicted for sure. We see the maps right here confirming the path, packing maximum sustained winds of 25 knots right here, pushing off towards the northeast. And it's basically still a tropical depression. We know anywhere from 0 to 33 knots, definitely a tropical depression for sure. We see the other system right in here pushing northwestward into portions of southern China right there. They could bring in some well-needed moisture, if not some isolated flash flooding for sure. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, you can see a tropical wave right here to the west of Jamaica, another tropical wave right here to the east of Jamaica. And I have to highlight this because I heard the weatherman on TVJ saying that both tropical waves are to the west of us, but they're not to the west of us as yet. news headlines just now, the man said tropical waves were to the west of us, but as you can see here, they aren't going to be to the west of us, as you can see here, until 12 UTC on June 26th. That's going to be 7 a.m. on June 26th. 7 a.m. tomorrow. That's when this tropical wave that is now to the east of us should pass by for sure. It should be crossing over as we speak. So it's not to the west of us as yet, as he stated, but it's in the process of doing that. We can see the visible satellite images right here confirming the moisture associated with the first tropical wave. The other tropical wave definitely pushing through as we speak. But back to the surface map, we can definitely make out another tropical wave right here across the main development region, another tropical wave right here closer to the Cabo Verde Islands. And as usual, we have ridges of high pressure to the north that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic, we can basically make out that low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered by the low-level winds. From that east to west direction, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north, we can see the clouds associated with that tropical wave, equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean. Another tropical wave somewhere in here. Tropical waves, one in here, another one run over here. For sure, very interesting pattern as we speak. So tropical wave train definitely on a roll. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean to the later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, June 25, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Wednesday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, northern, and western parishes during Wednesday afternoon. First of all, we know northern parishes. We're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 3:55 a.m., the infrared close-up satellite images of Jamaica were posted not only here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at that time, we definitely saw the cumulonimbus clouds pushing through, the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds coming in from the east. A lot of it passing to the north of us and pushing towards the west-northwest. But some of it definitely came into portions of St. Thomas and Portland this morning. I definitely got awoken by that rainfall for sure in the morning. Definitely grateful for it. And then by around 4:15 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted once again, highlighting what was taking place. We can definitely still see that we were still getting on some isolated showers across the east, and we also saw some isolated thundershower activity across the northwest. We were talking about section of Trelawney, section of coastal St. James and Hanover. That was where the isolated thundershower activity was. Wherever we see those sparkling yellow dots, that's where we know we got in on some of that isolated thundershower, lightning strike, if not lightning flashes, most of which pushed off out to sea, as you can see out there. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can make out that east-southeasterly low to mid-level flow of the clouds, if you can see them well. Then we had those clouds building, especially across the northwest over there. Then when we had those clouds built up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, those cloud tops are being sheared off towards the east, southeast, if not the east, as we stated they would by that upper level wind shear. We can see that even better on the infrared here. Those cloud tops still being sheared off towards the east, southeast for sure. Still seeing some strong thunder showers out to sea. We see wherever we see the lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Definitely getting some bad weather out to sea. So fishes, if not the ships, if they're out there, definitely getting on some bad weather right now. These clouds that we're seeing across the north coast, trust me, no rainfall within them, if not some light rainfall. I'm sure somebody can confirm. Alright, so according to the live camera here from Sea Jamaica's YouTube channel at around 2:37 p.m, we can see that it was definitely fair, slightly windy, nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. We see people in their vehicles going about their business. The rear Cobra a bit murky. And when we see that orange color, you know that it's been raining upstream for sure, causing that orange tint. But nothing in the way of real bad weather took place at all today. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we might have had that rainfall today, across especially eastern Jamaica in the morning, and then sectioned of some northern and northwestern parishes during the afternoon. So definitely across section of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Thomas, Portland. That was where the brunt of today's rainfall was. And if we reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, you can definitely see what's taking place right now. The latest timestamp is as of 0045 UTC, which is actually 7:45 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:57 p.m. right now. As you can see, not really much of anything taking place across the island. Just some of those high clouds being sheared off towards the east, southeast, maybe bringing some overcast skies, but you're not gonna see that it's overcast since it's the nighttime. So maybe just blocking out the stars, if not the moon, if the moon is actually out, for those coastal areas of Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. According to the latest Cuban Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, the latest Cayman radar, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing the latest the rainfall totals out there, definitely matching what we're seeing on the satellite imagery, especially on the Cayman radar. Well, still glitched out Cuban Doppler radar since June 22, June 25 now, so that's 3 days without the Doppler radar. Well, it's been glitching. They need to do something about it. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar showing some blues and some greens that represent some light to moderate rainfall pushing through between Cuba and Jamaica. Not really much of anything significant taking place. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, showing some rainfall across Cuba, but we also see that rainfall, the blues, greens, yellows, light to moderate to heavy rainfall pushing into section of the Cayman Islands. Little Cayman over here getting nailed as we speak, maybe even some flash flooding. It's definitely making sense with what we're seeing on the latest infrared. All of this bad weather to the northwest of us into portions of the Cayman Islands. So it makes sense that underneath all of those clouds that we saw on the infrared satellite imagery, we're actually seeing the rainfall rates right here, and we're also seeing the rainfall over here to the west of the Cayman Islands. So they definitely got in on their rainfall. Well, Grand Cayman, not the Cayman Island. So they definitely got in on that rainfall earlier. Now it's a bit, lightening up for sure, but most of the rainfall is now to the west and southwest of there. Alright, so what's taking place right now, according to the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing downtown Kingston, we can see people walking about, going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place, and that should be the order of the evening, a fair evening for sure. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some grays and some slight blues. That represents average to slightly below average temperatures. And we know the average temperature for the month of June across Jamaica is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that is around 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.2 to 32.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Thursday, June 26, 2025. We are talking about Dressike or Dressike in the parish of St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also Gully Road in St. Mary as well from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have Lima in Trelawney from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Claremont as well as Alderton in the parish of St. Anne from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We also have Swamp Road, Lloyd's in Yallas. That's very close to where I live, so maybe I could be getting in on some of the power outages. In St. Thomas from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have Gazeland in the parish of St. Elizabeth from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Barney Side to Orange Hill in the parish of Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well as Sheffield Old Road to Rocky Hill from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have Nonsuch to Cambridge in the parish of Portland from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m. 14 to 12th Street as well as 6 East Portmore in the parish of St. Catherine from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Flamstead, Garland, Red Ground, Horse Guard, Cold Spring and Mucko in the parish of St. James from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Roseberry Drive, Earls Court, Arcadia Gardens, Arcadia Drive and roads leading off in the parish of St. Andrew from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So let those people know the power outage is coming their way, because boy, you know the heat could be even more robust because they don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. Either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, seek shade when outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water, even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Looking at the dry air map, we have some dry air pushing through, extending from the east coast of the US all the way over into Africa, into a portion of the central to the eastern Caribbean. A lot of dry air. You know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, so we don't want that. We like to see the blues that represent the moist air. We notice we have more blues and moist air wherever we have the clouds. It all adds up. The more moist air we have, the more clouds we get, the more rainfall we get, and that's what we want, that we keep more water in our pipes. But clearly the Saharan dust is back. So we're heading into June 26. So we're looking at June 26 into June 27 into June 28, and the Saharan dust is back. It is back. So as of this evening, the Saharan dust is pushing through the island. I wouldn't be surprised if some people wake up tomorrow with some sinusitis issues. We see the oranges, we see the pinks, but it is not that vigorous of a plume like what we had 3 weeks ago, but it is still noticeable. We're gonna wake up to hazy skies tomorrow. Some people's asthma, if not sinusitis, could be triggered. Hope you have your meds handy. We see that even as we head into June 27, we still have Saharan dust. June 28, we're gonna be on the edge of it. Then we're going to be getting in on a break by the end of the day on June 28 into June 29, and we see it dwindling by that time for sure, with just some slight waves of the Saharan dust passing through. We have another plume right here to the east of the Caribbean coming in. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can clearly see the purples into the pinks. That represents 2 to 3 meter wave heights across the Caribbean, east of the Caribbean as well, and that's because of the winds that are expected. We see the yellows that represents 20 to 25 knots, especially in and around Jamaica to the south of Hispaniola. And if we zoom in a bit, to the north of Portland, 2 meter wave height. To the north of St. Anne, 1.7 meter wave height. To the north of, to the north of Hanover, let's see, 1.1 meter wave height. To the south of Westmoreland, 1.5 meter wave height. To the south of St. Elizabeth, 1.4 meter wave height. To the south of St. Thomas, clearly, highest waves over there, 2.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We see the strong easterly, if not east-southeasterly kind of flow across the island for sure. It kind of has this a southerly kind of slight tint. If it was more east to west, it would be more so something like this. Yeah, something like this. But it's definitely east-southeasterly in a way. And we see the greens into the yellows, definitely anywhere from 15 to 25 knots for sure. 22 to the north of St. Anne, 22 to the south of St. Thomas, 22 to the south of St. Elizabeth. And we also see where the air is going to be piling up once again. across sections of some maybe inland areas of some western parishes, maybe even sections of some northern parishes. Whatever comes off of the sea from the east could definitely come into section of the east once again, St. Thomas, Portland, with that rainfall. And the upper level wind shear still blowing those cloud tops off towards the east, if not the east southeast or the southeast for sure. So we could get on something similar to what we had today. We saw those cloud tops being sheared up towards that direction. Something similar could be expected tomorrow. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. And we can clearly see that both maps are showing the blues represent rainfall across St. Thomas, Portland right there for sure. And even by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we still see the blues represent rainfall across the east. We also see some rainfall out in the northwest and the west. So the GFS is showing like Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, maybe Trelawney, northern St. Catherine, southeastern St. Anne. The GFS on the other hand, yes with the east, but sections of western St. Mary, northern St. Catherine, eastern St. Anne, section of Westmoreland and Hanover. Don't see that St. James or Trelawney like what the GFS was showing, but look out for that rainfall for sure. And given the east southeasterly kind of flow for sure, definitely going to be having the air pile up across northern and western parishes. So look out for that. So it's going to be a case where it's morning rainfall for the east, afternoon rainfall for the east and the north and western end of the island. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The most rainfall from the Euro going up to 0.37 of an inch of rainfall out in the east. GFS only 0.21 of an inch of rainfall out east, 0.26 of an inch of rainfall out west. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of June. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we shall receive around 110 millimeters of rainfall this month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right at the bottom, we usually receive around 6.5 inches of rainfall for the month. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of June or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandyclimate.com, and that website will show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours, that's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. Reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So that's what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Thursday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Friday. 12Z on Friday is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. And at that time, we don't really see much of anything across Jamaica. Maybe some isolated showers out east. And then on Friday afternoon, not really showing much. Not really showing much at all. Looks like Friday is going to be the driest day of the week. The GFS still showing the isolated showers out east. Friday afternoon, not really much. Maybe some isolated showers out west. We'll see. The Euro and the GFS definitely contrasting with the afternoon rainfall. Euro showing nothing, GFS showing something. We're also seeing that we have consensus of the rainfall that's expected across Central America, anywhere from Nicaragua northwestward, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan. Definitely going to be getting a lot of moisture over there. Let us see what Saturday morning is showing for Jamaica. Maybe some isolated showers out east. Saturday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers out south and west. But look at that, we see some moisture across the Eastern Caribbean. Very interesting. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, maybe some rainfall to the northeast of us. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, southern, and western parishes. Interesting. The GFS also showing that moisture across the Eastern Caribbean. Let us see what Sunday morning is showing. On Sunday morning, not really showing much. Maybe some isolated showers out east. Sunday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some eastern and western parishes. Very interesting to see what the GFS is showing. Sunday morning, maybe some rainfall out east. Sunday afternoon, rainfall across central and western parishes. Let us see what Monday morning is showing. On Monday morning, we see some moisture to the south of us. Very interesting. Monday afternoon, look at that. Rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes in Jamaica. What does the GFS show? Monday morning, don't see much of anything across Jamaica. By the way, we must highlight what is taking shape to the south of Mexico. Look at all of the moisture, dark greens, yellows, oranges, reds, even pinks in there. And we see the isobar swirling around on a red L. That's an airflow pressure. So that could be a tropical storm, if not Hurricane Flossie. The GFS is a bit more west of there at the same time. Very interesting. A bit weaker on the GFS too. The higher the pressure, 1006 millibars, we know the weaker the storm. The lower the millibars, the pressure, 989 right here, the stronger the storm. So it's making sense. GFS stronger and slower. Euro weaker and faster. Interesting. We'll see how that actually plays out. Either way, Monday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, northern, and western parishes. Let's see how that goes. Let's just see what Tuesday morning looks like. On Tuesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Tuesday afternoon, not really seeing much, but we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Wednesday, July 2, and we do see some isolated showers out east. That's what the GFS shows. Tuesday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. Tuesday afternoon, nothing. Then stopping it at the end of the 168 hours. Still not seeing much of anything. Either way, this could change. That's the 7-day forecast, and I usually show these because the Hurricane Center does this. They look at the next 7 days to make the forecast to see if something could develop. So we have to, follow in their footsteps. Either way, over the next 7 days, the rainfall totals, the accumulated rainfall, both mapped right here from the year and the GFS, are still showing that the most rainfall should be wherever of the dark reds, purples into the pinks, into the peaches. That's where we have the most rainfall across section of Northern and South America. Into Central America, definitely getting some isolated flooding in those areas. While other areas that are shaded in mostly greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, that's at least up to 1 inch of rainfall. Like Florida, the Bahamas, the Greater Antilles, and the Lesser Antilles. Definitely getting in on 1 inch or less of rainfall for sure over the next 7 days. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation, over the next 7 days, we clearly see that yes, the entire island is shaded in the rainfall that we see on the key on the bottom. The blues, greens, the yellows, oranges that represents millimeters of rainfall. But clearly the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be across the east. The Euro has been adamant about that, only going up to 79 millimeters of rainfall this evening. GFS only going up to at least 54 millimeters of rainfall. And the thing is, it's already been raining throughout the days, so if we see the numbers lowering or increasing, it's making sense because we got rain yesterday in the east, we got rain today, so some of these rainfall totals are definitely fluctuating. For sure, it makes sense. It could be decreasing, could be even increasing, given the fact that there could be even more rainfall within the next 7 days. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the rest of the Caribbean, as stated, we have some low-level clouds pushing through the Caribbean, nothing significant. A lot of moisture though across the Bahamas, section of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Western Caribbean, into portion of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Definitely getting soaked over there. The Doppler radar images, on the other hand, of the northeastern Caribbean, not really seeing much taking place over there. Let's see if we load these images from earlier today, if we would see anything else. Not really seeing much. Definitely quiet for the most part in and around Puerto Rico and the Leeward Islands. But we did see some isolated hit or miss showers in the blues and greens, pushing in from the northeast into portions of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines right there, maybe even as far as Tobago. Let us see what the weather with Doppler radar images shows. Not seeing much across the Leeward Islands into the Windward Islands, but we do see some rainfall into portion of Trinidad, Venezuela, sections of the Cayman Islands, Honduras, Belize, northern Guatemala, the Yucatan, Cuba, northern Bahamas, and sections of Florida for sure. And regarding where the brunt of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are adamant that the most rainfall, as we can see, that represents the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, up to 1 inch of rainfall, or even a bit more. would be across section of eastern Honduras. Northeastern Nicaragua could get a lot of rainfall, maybe even up to 6 inches of rainfall. Even section of Costa Rica, section of central Cuba too. We'll see how that plays out. Either way, we see rainfall across Florida, the Bahamas, Cayman Islands, section of Jamaica. There's some isolated shores at that. Sections of Yucatan, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago. Right, not really seeing much across Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, or the leeward or windward islands, but we do see some slight greens. There could be some isolated showers, and the thing is, it's already taking place. Look at the slight greens right here to the north of Barbados into portion of St. Vincent. That could be what we literally just saw on the Barbados radar. The blues into the slight greens. That's just some light to moderate rainfall. Nothing significant, just some hit or miss sprinkles. So that could definitely be representing that. It could already be underway. Nothing really significant though to cause tremendous flooding. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.